Hello there my RPG lovers and welcome to another video. Life is Feudal is an open world survival MMO that's available for PC. This game has a subscription business model which allows you to stay completely fair with no pay to win features. Life is Feudal is a sandbox MMO that offers you a lot of freedom with a methodical approach to mechanics and gameplay in general. As with the majority of sandbox MMOs, there is a big emphasis on activities like crafting, mining, farming and construction. The world of Abella features a huge open world map with over 37 massive regions where thousands of players are online. Players are participating in PvE and PvP activities, and it's almost impossible to survive alone in this world. In this video, I'm going to talk about all major features of the game, along with my gameplay highlights and some first impressions. Many thanks to Longtail Games for sponsoring this video. Now let's dive right in. Before you begin the game, you get to make your custom character. There are more than enough options to make a unique looking male or a female character. More importantly, you get to set up your attributes, crafting and combat skills. You'll rearrange most of these attributes later in the game, so you shouldn't worry about them too much. But willpower is quite possibly the most important attribute in the beginning of the game because it increases your stamina. I dumped all of my points into strength because of course I did, but that was not so wise. You begin the game in a strange land with no knowledge of the past. From this point on, you're completely free to explore these open worlds. Although exploring everything right from the start is definitely not a smart idea. You need to equip yourself properly and learn about the fundamental mechanics of the game. There is a comprehensive tutorial which makes you talk with different people in the village. All of these people will have a different task for you to complete, which are related to different crafting, building, combat and gathering mechanics. You'll learn how to fish, gather basic materials, mine, hunt animals, and so on. The tutorial quest will send you on a deer hunt. You'll need to track the animal first by using the specific option and follow the tracks. I killed the deer with a bunch of throwing rocks. Hey, it's called primitive tools for a reason, okay? I'm just going with the flow because becoming a proper warrior or a hunter is not that easy. Luckily, pretty much all quests will teach you different things in order to prepare you properly. You'll run around the map and talk with NPCs, and when you're done with those quests, you should have a good idea how basic mechanics work. And when you're done, you should have enough materials in your inventory to create the majority of primitive tools. And as you progress, you'll create more tools that you'll need for crafting basic weapons and armor. You can check out what you can unlock when you reach a certain skill level, which is pretty cool and it gives you something to look forward to. What I find particularly relaxing in survival games in general is cutting trees. I don't know, it's oddly relaxing for me and I like to see how the terrain changes because of your actions. I also love how the forest area looks in the beginning island. The vegetation is really lush in certain areas, which is really appealing to me. You need to be careful with the items you pick up because it's pretty easy to fill up your inventory and reach the limits. The inventory limit is affected by your stamina, and like I said before, starting with a higher willpower attribute should help you a bit with this. Speaking of cutting trees, wood is also used as a fuel, and you'll need it when you build a campfire and other structures obviously. Upon exploring the first newbie island, I found a lot of items and buildings left by other players. I'm not sure if they're just trying to get rid of the things from their inventory, or they want to help the newbies like me. You can even claim their buildings for yourself because why not? That becomes your spawn point by the way, so if you die, you'll respawn on the exact location. But when you move to the main game island, you'll find a bunch of properties of other players. You can explore them and see what the players are up to, despite the warning for trespassing. You need to claim the piece of land before you can build something, that's the way it works. The island where you begin the game is tailored for new players, so you can get accustomed to all the mechanics. And when you get comfortable with the game in general, you can switch to the main game islands. The main island is a lot bigger and I only got to explore it for a while and check out what people have built. I suggest taking your time with the newbie island and maybe switch to another newbie island if you want to look for more players. Starting with a friend should be easy enough as long as you know the number of the newbie islands. Then you can just transfer to his island or tell him to come to your newbie island. Life is Feudal is a hardcore sandbox MMO. If you didn't know that before you started playing, dying in this game will happily remind you. That means that upon death you will lose your equipped items, so yet another reason to prepare yourself properly before you try to do anything crazy. Like I said before, everything you do in this game has a methodical approach. Each action requires a couple of steps of preparation. For example, if you want to build a shack, you'll need to level the ground properly. In order to do that, you need a shovel, obviously. But first you need to make one, and it requires a couple of simple materials that you can get right after you start the game. It starts off with a simple shack that you need for the tutorial, and later on you can even build a castle. There is plethora of small mechanics related to building and crafting system, which can be a bit overwhelming. But as you play the game and learn about the most basic mechanics, everything becomes a lot simpler to understand. Guild membership is one of the most important game features that allows you to interact with other players. Teaming up with other players is almost mandatory, because each character has their own unique specialization in both peace and war. What's peace and war? Well, I'm glad you asked, my little feudal friends. Peace and war are basically two different game modes, one for PvE and one for PvP. In the time of peace, you and other players should explore the world, collect resources and craft equipment. When the time of war comes, you should equip yourself with combat profession to fight with players from other guilds. After you get comfortable with the game mechanics, you can set your own goals and maybe focus on building, farming, or even political intrigues between major guilds. Like I said, the game offers you a lot of freedom, despite the hardcore aspects. The sandbox element of the game is quite possibly the biggest selling point of Life is Feudal. And if that's the main thing you wish to see in your MMO, you're probably going to enjoy what Life is Feudal has to offer. I took my time in the beginning while learning the mechanics and exploring the beginning islands. Life is Feudal has survival mechanics that you need to worry about. Your stamina, health and hunger levels will gradually decrease, and you need to rest and eat every now and then. Farming is also a big feature in this MMO, and you'll learn that shortly after the beginning of the game. You can harvest different crops which you'll use for unique cooking recipes, or just eat them raw if your hunger level is dangerously low. Having a diverse diet is also pretty important. Before you do any of these activities, it's required to equip a proper tool or a weapon. The primitive tools can easily be built with just a few simple materials that you can find laying around. It's really impressive how much you can change the world map by cutting trees, building objects and digging. And when you see what other players have built, it makes the world feel more alive. Let's not forget the combat as well. Life is Feudal has a simple directional combat system with melee weapons. You can choose to focus on combat mechanics and become a warrior if that's what you wish. Actually, that's what I wish to do, but I'm not even close to that point. As you would expect, the game has a bunch of different skills from different categories. We have crafting, combat and minor skills. For every action you do in this game, you accumulate experience points. And when you wish to focus on a specific skill, you need to activate it, and your experience will start transferring to that desirable skill. It's a pretty interesting skill progression, and I don't believe I ever played something similar before. It's essentially an improve on use system, which I really like, but you have more control over it because you can choose which skills to improve with your experience. You can also see what you can unlock at certain skill level, which can make you excited for unlocking new armors or weapons, for example. I'm still pretty early in the game and I'm learning as we speak. If you like what you see, you can download the game by using the link in the description and get some cool bonuses. Many thanks to Longtail Games for sponsoring the video. Life is Feudal is now available through their official launcher that you can download on their website. The game has a subscription business model which keeps the game free of pay-to-win features. And that would be it for this video. If you liked the video, pressing the thumbs up button and subscribing would mean a lot. I just launched my personal store where you can buy some interesting t-shirts and hoodies. I think that's a great way to get something back for supporting the channel. And of course, you can always become a Patreon or a YouTube member and get your name on the end credits of my videos. Many thanks to all of my current supporters, and I'll see you in the next one.